Earlier this week, the boys from Ko'olau Distillery hit me up and asked me if I wanted to experience something that most people never get to see. We drove up this incredible road all the way into the back of Waihe'e in Kaneohe area, and we got to go to the flumes and do a tour with the Board of Water Supply. The reason we were going to see these flumes was to discover where the water comes from, how much water is actually there, how fresh that water is, how long it takes to get from the earth into our drinking systems. And then also it had a lot to do with the whiskey that Ko'olau Distillery makes because they use this water. This dirt road drive made me feel like old times. It just took me back. Lots of memories I had when I was a kid driving in the back roads of different areas that you can't access normally anymore. One of the things that was cool is there's still a lot of endemic native species, even though unfortunately there are a lot of invasives back here as well. As we got to the back area where we parked, it was nice to jump out and look at the different plants. There was also some very beautiful and great smelling white ginger that was sitting alongside the road, so I took advantage of that. I looked around and you have this beautiful view of the Ko'olau Mountains, and then there's this preservation area of native species that you see right in front of me. The worker from BWS broke down some details of how this whole system works and some protocols, and I'll share that with you right now.
So basically, we benefit from three things naturally that brings us our fresh water. We don't have to really do anything about it. First lucky thing we've got is called wind. For simple fact, wind blows rain clouds. That's how our water is delivered. More specifically, because of where the islands are in the Pacific Ocean, we benefit from trade winds that come out from the north and northeast. Weather people are always telling us trade winds blowing 10 to 20 miles an hour, and as soon as they tell us we've got trade winds, next thing almost guaranteed is we're going to have windward and Mauka showers. Because when trade winds blow, chances are rain will come. Second lucky thing we've got are high mountains. We're surrounded by the Ko'olau. Out on the leeward side, we've got the Waihe'e. But here on the island of Oahu, we can consider that we have just about the best mountains to make rain. We learn rain happens most often between 2,000 and 3,000 feet above sea level. So when wind blows clouds off of the ocean into our island, clouds are forced to go up and over at the perfect height to make rain. When I started back in 1994, the number I would use is that we would actually average 2 billion gallons of rain every day. So wind blows clouds, mountains stop those clouds. Third lucky thing we've got is literally the island itself. Because we live on a volcanic island, our island is literally a stone sponge. Soaks up that rain, it cleans it, filters it. Because it's literally a sponge, it will store that water underground. All drinking water on the island of Oahu comes from an underground source. We drink no surface water. We don't take water from rivers or streams. We do not store our drinking water in open ponds or open reservoirs. Everything comes from underground. From the time that rain falls at the top of the mountain, works its way to an underground aquifer where most of our water comes from, that water drop takes a trip of 25 years. The history of this particular tunnel takes us back to the 1950s. That's Waihe'e Street. It's fed by two waterfalls at the back of the valley. Now back then they went ahead and measured how much water each waterfall put out. Then they went down to Kaneohe Bay to measure how much water the stream was putting into the ocean. When they measured stream water into the ocean, they started measuring a lot more water than they measured off of the two waterfalls. They realized as the stream traveled from the back of the valley to the ocean, it was picking water up from underground leaks. What they call a gaining stream. The amount of water that was being picked up by underground leaks was so significant, they figured that they could probably find some good compartments of water right here in the valley. Look for a solid rock wall of what we call dike stone. Punch through that wall, and on the other side is a compartment of water. The tunnel here is 1,500 feet long. When we get to 1,500 feet, we're going to come to two steel and concrete bulkheads. Those bulkheads, it'll look something like a bank vault door, but those bulkheads are the point where we broke through and into the compartment.
So the excitement starts here as they start to open up these gates. You can see this long, vast tunnel that has been man-made. Obviously, you see the lights, you see the electrical components. And like you would expect from a mine shaft, they've got electricity that is running through the entire system in case it's needed. However, that electricity is very rarely ever used, and so what we do is use flashlights and lanterns. One thing that's pretty remarkable remarkable is how well these pipes have held up over the last 70 years, and I was told that there's no corrosion that takes place on the inside because they are lined with glass, so the water is able to keep running, there's no issue with corrosion, and these pipes should last for a pretty long time. Another cool thing is on the top of the cave, the water looks like diamonds. Remember that solid wall he was talking about? Right here, he's sharing with us the location of the dike stone, and once you punched through that wall, on the other side was a tremendous amount of water that they were able to tap in. Now, our Ko'olau Mountains have lots of dike stone that's trapped water in these channels for a tremendous amount of time. So if we ever need to access it, this is how they were doing it. You might also notice that we went from a smooth concrete cave to a much different landscape in here. This is where the drills were drilling through the earth's core to get through these walls in order to get to the water. We walked a little further with the team, and then we stopped to discuss the next area that we would encounter, which is the fork in the road. One area to the left goes to a very wet side, and the right side is what they call the dry vault. And that's what you're seeing here. Behind this door provides a tremendous amount of water to the east side, and we are so lucky that we have it. Another thing that's really important to mention is the water you see dripping through the earth from the ceiling took 9 months to get from the sky to the ground and all the way into this vault. What he had to share with us, I thought, was extremely profound.
So actually, this is only several months. It's not even a year. I told you underground water that goes to the underground aquifer, we pump it up 25 years. Kind of little joke is 25-year-old water, 25 years scotch, right? Real good, right? But this several months old. It's been aged about 9 months that we are able to gather it. In Hawaiian sense, this water coming from the ceiling is considered special because it has not yet been touched by human hand. Sky Father, Waihe'e, has raised unto Mother Earth. Her name is Papa. Papa has taken that rain from Waihe'e, has taken it into herself. She's cared for it, she's nurtured it. And we're pretty lucky that we're able to gather it about 9 months later. You guys all old enough to understand, yeah? When man meet woman, what happens 9 months later? Baby. Right? Baby's come. Alright? So, when a baby is born, that's like a new life. It's a new beginning. You know, also being looked at new hope. So we have people who come and collect this water for special occasions, like baby baptisms or blessing.
Immediately after that, we turned off all of our lights and he led us into an oli. E ho mai ka ike.
E ho mai ka ike mai una mai.
In that moment, my senses were completely overwhelmed. I had chills going down my body. I just felt an immense amount of gratitude for this experience. I was humbled. There is a saying in the Hawaiian culture, Ola Ikawai, and it means that water is life. And man, coming through this, seeing how water was coming from above and below, and just how important this is in our life, really reinforced how we have to protect our natural resources. Water is so critical to what we do. Water needs to flow freely on all islands. It needs to be prevented from being disrupted, from being destroyed, from being contaminated. Now, I know that some of you are wondering, how can I have this experience for myself? And I'm going to get those details for you, and I'm going to share them here at the page, so sit tight. But what I am told is that if you have a group of around 10 to 12 people, it's the perfect ideal size for you to set up with the Board of Water Supply, and they will take you in here, they will educate you, and they will show you where your water comes from. To end this, mahalo to Board of Water Supply and mahalo to Ko'olau Distillery for inviting me. This was an incredible experience. I would love to do this again. I hope that you folks get to do this, and just like they say, Ola Ikawai, water is life.